So like today we lied by omission by saying, "Hey, Dan's grandfather's in the hospital. Jared's cat needs to be checked out, and Matt has 4 classes he has to teach and has to figure out a way to do it online now." So we kind of
Oh
explained
yeah,
to
that's right.
people,
You said he's a professor, right?
yeah, and he got a 4th class like 2 weeks ago.
Damn.
That's the middle of the semester. They're
What
technically on spring break right now.
what does he teach?
He teaches math. I think he's teaching the new class is algebra, college algebra, and he's done that before. That's no big deal. But now he has to do it online, so that's where it's like, ugh. Um, he teaches. I can't remember if he teaches calculus. He teaches like some higher math a little bit here in a seminar class. So it's just trying to figure out how to do all that online. I tried to tell him he should just record these lectures
Yeah,
and just
that's
put
what
it
I
up
was
for the
about to say.
students. But he wants to do it live so that when students are there listening live, he can answer questions as it goes. I totally understand that,
We'll do a live stream.
but he has 4 classes at the same time. Not at the same time, sorry. 4 classes in one day. So it's
Oh
kind of like,
shit.
on the one hand, it's like, okay, his first class is earlier in the day, and then there's like an hour and a half break, but still, it's like he does have to live stream it, but he has to do it on a certain this thing called Zoom, which is what most professors are using right now. Um,
Yeah.
and it's a whole thing trying to get the class like the online codes for certain things. It's been a whole mess, and he hasn't really worked on it. And he had all day today, and I was talking to him earlier, updating him that we haven't heard back about my grandfather's test yet. And he was like, "Oh, I've been procrastinating." I'm like, "You son of a bitch."
That's
Today would have been a perfect day to start testing. It's like, okay, how does this sound? Does it sound okay? Can people hear me clearly? Things like that.
mm,
I told him he could borrow my mic if he needs to, but yeah, he hasn't even gotten to the part where he's testing things yet, so I don't think he needs my mic just yet.
damn.
Yeah. And Jared, oh my God, I feel so bad for him. Him and his girlfriend just got a condo
Yeah.
in
You're
Brighton,
telling me about that, yeah.
and they haven't even finalized where the mortgage payments are supposed to go. And this is all happening right now. So it's kind of like, what do we do?
Yeah. But on the bright side, it does seem like we're pretty close to beginning a check cut from the government.
Yeah, I saw that
So,
they agreed on some terms for 2 payments, one in April, one in May, but that's it.
mm,
So it's kind of like, then what? Like, cool, the short term, awesome. What about June, July? Like, I know they can only think in short term right now, but like,
yeah.
if you and I are talking, things are going to be a mess for at least a year and a half. And I say at least a year and a half because again, I'm just assuming we're like maybe a year out from a vaccine. When I say a year out, I mean they got to get it, find a vaccine, get it tested,
Well,
get it approved,
well, it
and
might
then
not be that long because India already has been testing and they're really close.
I've heard that
I know Germany's also been testing, but that's all I've heard of. But I read an article today that India have been testing. So basically, they're just finalizing it and trying to get it approved. You know,
well, I hope that is the case because it's okay. Let's say it's roughly been a week since it's disrupted the entire country for us.
mm.
In
But
that one
it's been in the
week,
world. It's been in the world for like a while now, like for
since
almost two
December.
months. Yeah, well, two
So
three
it's
months. Yeah.
yeah, but like I'm talking about us because we can only speak about our experience, how
Mm.
it's disrupted our lives currently, and I just mean like in the full scope of like the United States, it's disrupted us big time the last 2 weeks, I would say, and more so the country in the last week is when how we've started feeling the effects. When the stock market started dropping 3 weeks ago, that was the first one. That was the first big domino. Um, because it's like, okay, like I'm on the stock market, you know that. So
Mm.
it's like I I try not to look at like how my portfolio is doing because I'm just like it's doing its thing. It's a long term thing. I don't look at it so often. I'll go on to see if I want to buy something, and a few weeks back, I'm like, whoa, something happened. Like what's going? I'm like, oh, it's corona related. Like that makes sense. It's finally hitting the shores. Investors starting to get worried. We get a lot of our goods from China, so on, so on. Um, then let's see, like right after my birthday is when it's like we started getting concerned about the show because it's like, oh, they're starting to cancel things.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but they're more current or recent upcoming events, like in the next 2 weeks that they're canceling. It's like, okay. And I tried to just, hey, stay positive. You know, things are out of our control. Just because they canceled that doesn't mean they're going to cancel Anime Boston. But then as the next week went on, I'm like, yeah, at one point, just like I'm sure you would think, it's like, oh, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they're going to cancel.
Yeah.
That's what brought us to last week. And whew, yeah. When it finally hit me, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, man. Um, I don't know if you've heard anything, um, but in terms of like my job, like
Yeah.
Home Depot, they're basically making us stay open. Um, what my store is doing, and I don't know if it's the same way for every other store, but we're going to be open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then, um, like, say, if, like, for instance, I close for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So instead of leaving at 6 p.m., I have to stay there for the rest of my shift to stock the shelves.
Oh.
And it's like, they have a group of people that work there that do that. So why won't you just pay me for those hours and let me go home when the store closes? You know, um, that part I really don't get. And on top of that, they're not going to pay us any more. They're not going to bump up our hourly wage for
Yeah.
working. Like I feel like they should. I know Darlene.
It's a hazard now.
Yeah, Darlene's job.
Yeah.
Are paying her more hourly to work.
Oh, wow.
So
To work through this.
Even though Best Buy does not have to be open like Home Depot does. Home Depot has to be open. But
And even then, it's like, I would assume Best Buy would be open like 6 hours at this point a day.
well, she
But
does.
they're not, I assume.
They're like the same. They open at regular time and they close at 6.
Okay.
You know, and then she's already talked about pretty soon there'd be like
We're going to have to close at some point.
No, she was talking about how like they were going to close the store but still have people working, so that way people can order shit and like pick it up. So they'll only let like 10 people or 12 people at a time in the store just to pick up their shit.
Oh.
And then leave, or if they have like appointments with the Geek Squad.
Okay,
you know,
I would say that's a little more
do.
reasonable and responsible.
You know,
I know we talked
makes
about
sense.
At work for me. We talked about like, okay, with everything going on, we can't afford to be open every day. Also, we can't afford to all be working at the same time. Like we knew kind of earlier this week, it's like, okay, all of our hours are going to get cut. We know that. It's just a matter of who and how many hours.
Hmm.
So we agreed, think starting this upcoming Monday, we're going to be open Wednesday to Monday. No, sorry, Thursday to Monday from 12 to 6. Wednesdays 11 to 6, because Wednesday's New Comic Book Day. So it's reasonable to open an hour earlier or an hour later. I think we agreed on 6, so it's like, okay, the store still closes at 6, just Wednesday we open a little earlier. Because we also need to figure out, okay, can we make deliveries ourselves? Figuring out insurance on that is a little of a nightmare right now. but we're a small store, so maybe we can get away with certain stuff, but not really, especially with insurance. Also, we need to figure out. So our store isn't very a shipping store, but we're gonna have to pivot to that real quick, and we've already started doing that. But it's like, okay, we need to do something that's a little more cost effective. So we're looking at things like stamps.com. They send you like everything you need really to figure it out for yourself, and they give you better rates, and they're licensed by U.S. Postal Service. So it's like, okay, we can do that. But all of it's just like we just have to learn by doing now, and it's really annoying. I've been trying to push for it for a couple years, but it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we only have so much bandwidth to do so much.
Yeah.
My big project after AB was going to be getting our subscribers online so they can manage their polls themselves without having to contact us, because there's always a little thing here and there. And I've noticed, like, especially with one subscriber, we've had like a fuck up every week for the last 3 weeks.
Damn.
So it's like if we had a system in place where we didn't manually have to do it, and it just gives us a list of who we have to pull for and what we have to pull and how much of it, that'd be great. That'd be worth the money alone. Also, getting our store online completely, like being able to show our inventory online without having someone call every time to figure out if something's coming in, when something's coming in. If we can just have that information on the site without someone having to call and ask us about it, that's one less call we have to worry about and more time to be spending on other things we can do in the store, and like being able to ship, getting our store on eBay, because we have a lot of stuff in the store that's never sold and things on the wall that hasn't sold in like years, and we've had it forever. Yeah, so now it's like, okay, we have to pivot to it now rather than like, okay, one project at a time. Nope, all of it right now. God damn, Nige. It's the end of the Halloween episode, and it's the one where they're all like, their bodies go inside out, and they're all dancing, and then the dog starts eating one of them. I'm like, oh God.
Got all the Simpsons, right?
Oh Lord. And I can't stand it because it's still full screen. It's still cut off, not like, you know.
Oh.
They haven't changed the aspect ratio, at least on that episode. Like I heard they were supposed to, but here we are.
All right, what else do you want to talk about, dude?
We can talk about anything. I figure it's like, okay, let's start with just what's been going on with us.
Yeah, I mean, I figured that it was natural to talk about that, you know. It just seems like everyone's been talking about that. I mean, it's kind of hard not to.
Right?
You know?
It's like, okay. I mean, are you guys... Okay, so when I was at the hospital the other night to visit my grandpa, I was in the waiting room for a while, and of course they had the news on. What else are they going to have on, really? Wheel of Fortune? I wish. So it's like I was getting a lot of updates really fast about the news. A lot of it being New York, and like you guys were like 24 to 48 hours away from finding out if there's going to be a shutdown. Are you guys? Is there?
No, I haven't heard anything about that. If anything, that New York City's probably already on lockdown. Like you can't get out in or out New York City, but New York in general, not so much. I know everything's still kind of open here in Buffalo. So I think we had as of yesterday, last night, we had our 21st case. So, I mean, compared to New York City, where they're pretty much at the thousands at this point, you know, it's nothing. So I think right now, like I don't want to say it's good because nothing right now is good, but compared to New York City, it's good. You know?
It looks like New York State is seriously approaching, is what it says.
Well, because
I heard something about the tri-state area. Like there was something happened.
Yeah, because New York City, then New Jersey and Connecticut, that whole central area right there. They're thinking about locking that down because that's like a highly congested area. So
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
But I know we pretty much are in lockdown because we can't go down to the city. We can't go into Canada because they shut their borders.
Yeah, they shut their borders.
So, I mean...
I think they shut their borders worldwide except to Canadians who are trying to get back.
Yeah.
And U.S. citizens can get in, but I don't know how true that actually. Maybe it was true at one point, and
No,
it's just now completely shut down.
I'm pretty sure they're just gonna deny everyone trying to go in that's not a Canadian citizen. You know.
Yeah, and that's fair. Unprecedented move. The governors of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut joined on Monday to shut down businesses across the state. Uh, okay, this was for Monday, and that's the New York Post.
Yeah, no,
And
that's all. That's all.
it looks like businesses were shut down.
Yeah, non-essential businesses. So like,
Yeah,
because Home Depot is technically like an emergency store, we have to be open unless it gets really fucking bad.
unless you get like a complete shutdown.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You know, like San Francisco's already on complete shutdown for 3 weeks. So
Yeah, I saw that, and like I've told you before, I'm a fan of Kind of Funny, and like it was it was actually okay. It's kind of funny that they the Kind of Funny guys, they decided they're going to work from home starting that Monday, and then literally Sunday, oh, we're shut down starting tomorrow, and it's like, oh, well, they made the right choice at the right time, didn't they?
yeah,